Hello, welcome back to the channel. Nigel here with you, Nigel's Modelling Bench. And here we are now with part 9 already of this Pocher 1/8 Lamborghini Aventador, and it's turning into quite a monster. We've done the, in part 8, we got all this work done here. And we also did the work on the rear parts of the engine. So yeah, all coming together very, very nicely. So we also in part 8 talked about the painting and everything of the interior. If you want to build yours out of the box and just leave it plain plastic, you can. But I just want to show you, this is the plastic dashboard, and as we talked about, we've got these mold swirl marks here, which are pretty much unavoidable on big parts like this. We've got some sink marks as well, which again are unavoidable when you've got parts like that. Pretty much unavoidable, but you can see the difference when you look at the painted dashboard compared to the non-painted. It does look a lot better in my opinion. We got rid of the sink marks, we got rid of the swirl marks, and then we got some tonal changes as well. So what we'll do now is get on with the build now that the paint is dry and everything. I've gone on and glued this clear part in. This is W509, this clear part for the interior lights. And I've glued that in with some white glue, you can see. I've done that so that it can sit there and dry. This is actually, what I've used here is this glue here, which is absolutely brilliant, micro crystal clear. Been using it for years. It's like a white glue, but it seems to be kind of harder. If you can't get hold of that one where you are, you can get this Migamo Ultra Glue, which is very, very similar. They both dry dead clear. They're really, really good. So bear that in mind. They're very, very good indeed. So this is what we've got to be careful of on this paint, is our oily fingers. So there we go. Right. So looking at the instructions, we've got these two parts of the instrument panel screwed together with 3 screw H's. So I'm going to get that headlining out of the way. I'm going to grab this, grab some 3 screw H's. So we've got 3 there at one blow. There we go. We can close our screws up, and then this is going to just pop into there like that. Okay, and then I should have preloaded a screw. Get a screw on there, and then we'll pop this into here. And then we'll pop a screw into there. Just as we always do, just a couple of turns. Don't go fitting anything in one. Just pop that screw into there. A couple of turns. And then we'll pop one into there. Again, a couple of turns, and then what we can do is turn this over. You can see I've got that screw going on an angle, so I'm going to back it out, push it over, put it in straight. So I'm going to pull that one in nice and snug. Don't go over tightening anything because you'll just crack the plastic. There we go. And then finally this third one. There we go, that's that put together. So that's all pulled together nicely. Seems to have gone up on a bit of an angle, but I'm sure that'll sort itself out when we put it all together. Maybe if I slacken this central screw off slightly. Nope. I'm guessing when we put it together it'll all sort of pull itself right, but we shall see. If it doesn't, we'll have to do some adjustments, but you can see that it's pulled up. It's pulled up like that. But I'm sure that when we put it together it will sort itself out. What we could do actually is cut an angle onto this face so that it pulls it more down. We could just tweak it. We'll see how it goes, because it's all screwed together. So at the end of the day, if it's no good, we can actually take it all apart and put the angle on it then. But what I'm talking about, in fact, no, I'll do it now. What we'll do is we'll take these screws out. I think it's these end ones that are pulling it down actually. Yeah, very strange. I think we'll just leave it all tight. See what happens when we fit it, because when that's fitted I think that's going to push up against the console and that's going to pull it down. We shall see. Right, so there we go. Okay, I've been playing with this, and what I've done, I have a feeling that perhaps when this has come out of the mould that maybe these tabs have folded back or something, I don't know. But what I've done, this one here is okay, but what I've done here, I've put a piece of 20 thou plastic card in there and a piece of 10 thou plastic card in there. You can see it doesn't, what it's doing, it's just wedging this side so it pulls it, as it screws it up it pulls it out. So you can see it's vastly improved. Still a bit of a gap there, but I'm not going to worry about that. I think when it all pulls together, I think it'll be fine. But we shall see. As I say, it all screws together, so it's going to be easy to take it apart and adjust it and everything like that. So there we go. Right. So looking at this, we've got the steering column to do. So we have now done that part there and that part there. And as you can see, we've done all the decals and everything, if you remember. So I've still got this part here, the actual instrument panel. You'll see in the bottom of here is sprayed in gloss because the instruments appear to be shiny. So what I've done is sprayed those shiny. Oh, the other thing I've done with the mirror, I actually took the vinyl out and I stuck it to a piece of 10 thou plastic card, sanded it down, went around the edge with a black magic marker and then put it in. You can see it's much flatter now, so that's much nicer. We've also painted the steering wheel, so you can see we've got different tones of paint on the steering wheel. We've got a glossier part there, glossier than that, and then we've got the grey on here. This is the rubber black, so it just makes it look a bit more interesting. We've got the centre of the steering wheel here. I've got this Lamborghini badge masked off with liquid mask, so we should be able to. What I did, I clear coated this and then found I had spattering of silver paint, so I had to paint it black again. It's like with this, it's been 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. It's been awful, but it's all been my doing. It's not the model, it's me. That could come off of there. There we go. It's still got a bit left on there, or have I scratched the decal? Oh, is that a bit left on there, or have I scratched the decal? I can't quite tell. Where's the magnifier? Yeah, I've scratched the decal. Well done, Nige. Great. So I've ruined that decal. Never mind. We do have lots of those decals on here, so I may have a spare. We'll see. We'll see how many we need. But there we go. So moving forward, what are we going to do next? I've got to wait for that instrument panel to dry. We could get on with the steering column. That's all good to go. So basically, that's going to go in there. I think what we'll do is fit these first. So they're going that way up. So we can just push them in. There we go, they don't need to be glued. We just push them in there. And then this can just push onto there. Okay. And then the steering column can go through here like so. And then the steering wheel can go on there, but that needs to be glued. Now I'm tempted to do the same as Moss and not fit this yet because it's going to be sticking out and it's going to be a pain. So if we take that out and we take the steering wheel away, over there, then we can just fit this column to the instrument panel. Now that's going to need to be glued, but first of all I want to put the instruments in. I think they might still be a little bit soft, so I'm going to have to be careful. Maybe I can put them in and glue them from behind. I'm going to leave them actually. I'm going to come back to this tomorrow. Tomorrow to me, not to you. Because I don't want to risk putting finger marks in there. So I'm going to leave this for now. Put all that to one side. What we can do is glue this in here. I'm not quite sure how we're going to glue that. I think I'm going to use super glue. I think the roof will hold it in. Got to drop. No, that's no good. Get get some super glue. Let's get my black thin. Drop of that there. And we can put some glue into those slots. Just like so, and then drop this on. Put some glue over the top, let that capillary its way in, and leave that to dry. So yeah, at the moment we're in a case where we're waiting for things to dry. So I'll see you in a minute. And welcome back. So off camera I have glued this panel in here, the instrument panel, and I glued the steering column in. I just wanted to get those in and get them dried. So we got that in. So that's all done. That's all very simple. It's just push in with 2 pins, bit of glue on the back, job done. So now we have a choice. We can either leave this like this and not bother fitting the steering wheel, or we can fit the steering column into here, slide it through just like so, okay, and then the steering wheel is going to go onto the end of that shaft like that, so it's going to have to be glued. So what we're going to do is we're going to put some glue in the hole, not on the shaft, because if you put it on the shaft, the glue will ride up the shaft and form a big blob at the bottom, and you'll end up gluing the steering wheel to the column. So there we go. So we put some glue in there, hold the steering column, and then we just slip the steering wheel on there and give it a little push. Make sure it's all gone together properly. Yes, it has. So that can be left to set, so we can turn that over so it's sideways, and then just stand the instrument panel over there, or the dashboard over there. So if you remember, we previously glued this light in here with the white glue. We glued the stalk in for the rear view mirror, so that can go on now. So that's got a D-shaped hole and a D-shaped pin, which can slide on there like that. So that's that in place. And then we've got the sun visors, and you can see on these they have a little kick up on one side. If you look, you can see we have a difference in length from here to that pin, from here to that pin, and it's clear. You can see that that's the way they go in the roof. So they're going to line up with those holes and just pop them in like that. And then this one's going to go the same. Just line them up and pop them in like that. That's it. If you want to put a drop of glue on the back, just to make sure they don't fall out. I don't think they will, but just in case, just put a drop of glue on each of them like that. And let that dry. Now the mirror I don't think needs any glue. It's a nice tight fit on there, so that's going to be fine. So that's that. That's our interior finished. I've been looking at these holes here, thinking about might plug them after we put them in, but we shall see. So that is step 2 and step 3 completed. So we've now done 1, 2, 3 and like 19, 20 and all that, as you know. So here we've also already done these decals on here. You can see they're on there, okay, on the interior light. So now what we've got to do is go on and do the rest of this. Oh, this is also step 3. Okay, this is where they go over the page. So I've crossed off step 3 here, but I should have done, because this is still step 3. So we've got to get the main body, and what I'm going to do with the main body, as I mentioned just now, I'm going to go through the instructions and identify every single hole in this body that needs to have a thread cut in it, and then cut all those threads and then clean all the holes out. That way it's better to do that, because if we start cutting threads as we need them, we run the risk of swarf getting inside, and quite often it's very difficult to get out because it's very small, it's very sharp, it's very light, and it just sticks into bits and you just won't get it out. So we'll try and we will get all the holes tapped so that we don't have to do any tapping after we've done any assembly. So I'm going to go and get the body out. I need to get that panel there out as well, which is also in the large foam tray in the bottom of the box. And we've also got this oily film on this on the body, and I don't know quite how I'm going to go around getting that off, but we'll see. So I'll get the body out and I'll be back in a minute and we'll get some threads cut. Okay, so we've tapped all our threads in the bodywork. You can see lots and lots of holes to tap. Also lots of little bits of white foam everywhere. Lots and lots of holes to tap. Also worth having a quick look round. You'll get some die cast flash on the top of these posts. All I've done there is come along with a pair of cheap cutters and just basically removed it with cutters, just sort of scrape it off almost, so that they're nice and smooth on the tops. Otherwise it's going to hold the roof panel away. So there we go, that's our bodywork all tapped and everything, all our threads cut and all the little bits of die cast swarf removed. There's another bit there I can see. You just kind of just scrape it off almost. I don't want to get the files out and stuff. You can see I've also put some masking tape down these A-pillars and also a piece of paper towel on the roof. When I do the tapping, I don't put it down, I actually hold it and tap it, because my worry is if I'm pushing down and a little bit of swarf gets in there, it's going to make scratch marks in the paint. So so I'm going to leave that on there for now. I'm also, while we're working on this upside down, I've got an old hand towel here. I've folded it into 3 so it can make like a soft base for it to go on, and then we've got no fear of anything scratching. And this is one of the reasons as well I wanted to get everything tapped, so I could get it all blown out and everything. So yeah, sorry, I thought I'd heard the doorbell then, but I didn't. So yeah, I don't want to be getting the swarf in this towel and then rubbing it around on there. So that's basically why we've done all the threads. So they're all done, all cleaned out. I'm just going to give it a final sort of tap. Just to make sure. That's the way to go. And as I say, those little bits of swarf, if they get into the interior, they'll sit in the nooks and crannies in your seats and stuff, and you just won't be able to get them out. Whoops. So basically that roof lining is going to drop in there like that. Yeah, like that. Okay, and then we're going to screw it in. So there we go. Right, so the first thing I want to do is fit this rear window. Oh, one other thing I want to talk about. I found another error in the instructions. Here they're saying this rear panel, you can see they're saying to put it on, okay, and then the screw B goes through that panel and into the bodywork. That's not how that rear panel fits. This rear panel, which is here, by the way, on mine there was some flash in here as well I had to clean out, but this panel actually goes in behind and up like that. Okay, the way they're telling you to put it on is like that. Well, obviously these holes are bigger than these holes, so as you can see, these holes in this part have been tapped. So that's going to go in like that. And then 2 screws into there to hold it in. I'm very tempted to put my aluminium foil on here because in the real cars this is all reflective material to reflect the heat. So we shall see what we do about that. But first things first, this window. So, a little bit of a modelling tip for the newbies out there. When you cut clear parts, you need to be very, very careful cutting clear parts off the sprue, because quite often what happens when you cut clear plastic, it shatters. Now, I'll just use these cheap cutters and I'll just cut this here to see what happens. Yeah, you heard that, it kind of shattered rather than just cutting off, and that's what you've got to be careful of, because often when you do that, like when you cut here, it will produce a shock mark internally. So with something like that where you've got a flange on the edge of it, it's not so much of an issue, but with this rear window here, and we've got a massive sprue gate there, we want to be very, very careful, because if we cut that now with a pair of cutters, it's likely to make a shatter mark, you look at the great big white mark in the side there. So for that you need what's called a razor saw. This is the art scale one. You can get it from artscale.eu, or in the UK they're available from Hannants. And these things are brilliant. And you get these, they also do all the different shaped blades for it as well. But basically I'm going to use the fine side, and I'm going to hold the part, okay, and I'm not going to cut right up to the window, but I'm going to cut fairly close to it and just cut with the saw, cut through the plastic. That way we won't get that shock mark in it. So just see how that goes. Have to use the coarse side, the fine side is starting to stick. Wow, this is one hell of a sprue gate, guys. Blimey, how thick is it? It must be about 3mm thick, I think. Also, clear plastic tends to be harder and more brittle than the ordinary plastics. Wow. There we go, finally we're through. Right, and then straight away when you've done that, guys, always put your clear parts back in their bag so they don't get scratched. So what we're going to do now, we're going to get this cleaned up, and then we'll see about gluing it in. Okay, so we've got the window all cleaned up now. There's actually sprue gates all along the edges. They obviously break the tabs off so they don't come off in the bag and then scratch the other clear parts. What I always like to do with my clear parts, when you look at clear parts, when you look at them like this, you see this shiny chrome edge, it looks awful. So what I like to do is get a Sharpie and just go around the edge of the clear part with the Sharpie and just colour it in. You could use black paint if you want to, but it's just easier to use a Sharpie, it's more convenient, there's no cleanup after. So just go around the edge, just like so. If you do get any on the clear part itself, you can just go with a bit of IPA on a cotton bud and remove it. Not IPA the beer, IPA isopropyl alcohol. There we go, just go around that edge. I always do this on clear parts. Those who follow my channel, you'll know I always do this on everything I build. There we go, and you can see now that when we look along the edge, we look, through the clear part, we don't see that chrome edge. We got a black edge, which looks a lot better. I'm also going to colour in this area in here with the Sharpie, because when we glue it in, we'll see yellow through the edge, and I very much doubt that that's how the real thing looks. Just going around and just giving it a dark coloured recess. Just like that. And then here, get rid of that yellow edge on the interior side as well. Just like so. It doesn't have to be particularly neat and tidy on the inside, because the inside paneling covers up the edge anyway. The aperture in the interior panel is smaller than the glazed panel. And we can just give it another run round there. Just like so. There we go. Job done. So as you can see now, it looks a lot better than just having a clear part just stuck in a yellow slot. We've now got a bit of a frame around it. It looks a lot more professional. So what I need to do now is grab a drop of IPA. So I've got my bottle here with IPA in it. Grab a new cotton bud. Never use an old one, because you never know what you've used it for before. So we'll put the top back on here, just in case we knock it over. In fact, we'll put it out of the way. And then we can just rub that on there and remove that ink from the edge, just like so. Got some on there as well, or is it on the other side? There we go. Go over that again in a minute. And there was a bit up here, wasn't there, I wanted to do as well. There we go. So that's already. I'm just going to finish cleaning this up off camera. And then I'll come back. Okay, so to glue this in, I'm going to use Megamo Ultra Glue, which is basically like a white PVA glue. It dries dead clear. The reason I'm not using super glue is you have to be very careful with clear parts. Quite often what will happen with all super glues is they will cause the whole clear part to go foggy, or they will at least form like a foggy edge around it. So best to use something that you know it's not going to do that. So be very careful. They don't tell you that in the instructions, so be very careful. Okay, so what we can do, there's two ways to do this. If I put the glue on here first, what will happen, it will ooze out on the inside and then I'll have to go and mop it up. And the trouble is I'm going to be holding the window in and I'm going to get finger marks all over it. So the easiest way to do it, I think, is to put the window in place. Like so. I know there's a decal got to go on there, but I'm going to put the window in place first. It's also got quite a bit of play in it. Okay, it sits at an angle as well, it's not straight, so don't worry about the fact that it's sitting out at the bottom slightly. Don't worry about that. So what we're going to do, we're going to get it roughly in the centre. And then we can take some Ultra Glue and just go around the edge. Put some glue in there and let it capillary into the gap. I'm not worried about getting it anywhere because it's easy to mop up. It won't damage anything. It's not like using your Tamiya extra thin or anything. You get that on the clear part and it will fog it up straight away. If this was plastic, I would glue this in. If the body was plastic, I would glue it in with extra thin. But it's not, so I can't. Just let that glue go in there and that will go into the edge. There we go. We can go all the way around the window like this, or we can just do the ends. And you must remember it won't be a very strong joint, so you won't be able to knock the window around too much. Okay, so that's going to go in there, and all I'm going to do is go around now, around the whole thing, and fill all the gaps in with glue, and that'll get it all held in place. Alright, a good couple of hours later now, and the glue is dry. What I've done here, you can see I've got some finger marks on there. The glue isn't fully cured, it takes 6 hours to fully cure, but a couple of hours and it's good enough to hold it in there. And I've just got some cotton buds, IPA, alcohol, and just go around and clean up the excess. And that's job done. So there we go. I know Pocher watched my videos, and if the designer of these kits is watching, I would suggest, rather in future, if you do anything the same as this, a similar model, rather than doing this, this is not easy to do without getting, glue on the glass and stuff. I don't know why they didn't have this glass panel being mounted from the inside. You could perhaps mould it so that it sits in a recess, so that if you want it flush with this panel, and then have 4 pegs on here and fit the panel to that, and then fit it from the inside so there's no glue involved. Because when that goes in there, you can see it's a lot smaller than the actual panel itself. So I think it would have made a lot more sense to actually fit that panel to this and then have it going in from the inside. It's just a thought from Nigel's mind. But there we go. But I do know, as I say, I do know that Pocher do watch these. So they have told me they do, and they like the style apparently, which is good. And they have confirmed they will be sending me the 917 as soon as it's in stock, which is imminent, I believe. So there we go. So that's that done. I'm going to let that go off a bit more. So I don't really want to go fit in these interior panels because basically I need to get to this when it's all dry, and what I may actually do is thin some down and run it in there and let it capillary around, because you can thin that ultra glue with water, and I may just thin it, let it in there, let it capillary around, and then just leave it to dry. So in the meantime, I thought what we'll do is we'll look at what's next in the instructions. So this is where we are now. Obviously I don't want to fit any of this, because if I have to remove that window, clean up and start again or something, then I'll have to remove all of this as well. So we mustn't forget that sticker either, which is critical. So moving along now, we've got these interior side panels and the rear panel, which you've just seen, and the seat belts. So I've got those off the sprue, got them all cleaned up. We do have ejector pin marks on the backs of them, but they don't matter at all. But you can see that here, once again, with the moulding, we have the, you know, the lines from the moulding, which is unavoidable. So you can see here, this is where the plastic's flowing into the mould, and it's coming in from one side and meeting the other, and it kind of melds together. I say meld because it's like a melted weld. So I'm going to paint these with LP5. So I've used about 17 gallons of LP5 on this model, I think. So we'll get those painted. We've got the seat belts here, and you can see I've got the PE buckles off. I've got them cleaned up. We covered PE, didn't we, when we did the engine, so I don't sort of revisit techniques and stuff. Other than the tapping, because a lot of people won't have even seen that into modelling, anything about thread cutting at all. So here, unfortunately, probably on my model, maybe on yours as well, it's worth checking, I had a very rough edge along the top. So I've sanded it out and it's gone through to the yellow paint, as you can see there. So I'm going to have to paint that. Same on this side. This side wasn't anything like as bad, but that side you could almost cut your finger on it. It was quite rough. So that's going to stick out like a sore thumb when the doors open. So I'm going to have to spray this in again, and what I'll probably do is just spray this, I'll probably mask around here to get a neat edge, and then I'll probably spray this with matte black, and then see how it looks. But yeah, we'll have to mask all this. Oh, I'm sick and tired of masking, if I'm honest. But yeah, we'll try and do a nice job. We've got all trims going in here anyway, so all of this is going to be covered up. But obviously when this interior panel goes in here, it's going to sit on that door aperture like that. You can see that yellow line is going to stick out like a sore thumb. So we don't want it there. Okay, so I'll paint that in as well, but obviously I'm going to wait for this window to dry before I do anything else. So what I'm going to do is go and get these bits painted, and then we can assemble stage 4. Again, I was talking about elasticating these seat belts, but I think when they're actually in the car, you'll have the inertia down in behind here, and they'd be mounted down in there. It would be pulled tight straight. It's not going to be all baggy. I'm going to have it as I think it would be on the real car, just tensioned up straight. I'll just glue them in from behind I'll peg them and then glue them. So there we go. Right, so I'll see you back for that. We're back. So it's a few hours later now. I've gone over there again with some thinned glue. Got the window in and everything. Went over with some IPA afterwards. Got all the excess glue off. And that window's glued in there nice and solid. As I say, if you are watching Mr. Designer, please do it different. Have it come in from the inside and have it held in with a bracket or with the interior panel or something, rather than having to glue it in from the outside, because that's been a pain. Right, especially to make it look nice. So moving on in here, I found another little mistake. They're telling you here to put this decal on, WD-15. They tell you to put it on that panel there. It's actually the CE marking, whatever it is, for the glazing. If you put it on the inside, it'll be reading backwards. So it's on there, you can see it there. So nice little light detail to add, isn't it? If I put my hand there. I'll tell you what, if I move this, and you can see, there you go, light green behind it, you can see the decal. There. Okay. So I also went around here, I sprayed the black around the edges, and then I turned the body over and I went around the insides, all the edges of everything, and just put a little bit of black around just in case. The shiny panel there I've put in, and you'll see in a minute what that's for. And as you know, I've tapped all these holes in the body. M3 back here, there's a couple of M1.8s up here, and then pretty much the whole rest of the thing is M2.3. So, or no, 2.6, and there's a couple of 2.3s. So, no, I think, yeah, these are 2.3s, I think, aren't they? I can't remember. C-screws, I think they're 2.3. This is all 2.6. These back here are 3, and there's a couple of 1.8s here and a couple of 1.8s here, I think, from memory. But anyway, you'll work it out. So we've got that in. So now we need to look at doing this rest of this step 3. So we're going to put the roof panel in. So the interior roof panel is literally going to drop in like that, and that is it. Okay, I'm going to make sure I don't have any of this masking tape trapped under the panel. See, I do there, look, and if I'd fitted that like that, chances are I wouldn't have been able to get it out. So keep that there. And that's going to push back in, and those screw holes are all lining up nicely. Again, I need to make sure the masking tape's not under there. Yeah. So they are screw C. So we can open our box of screws, get some screw C's out. And we'll put these in. Again, as I say, these holes are tapped, so you'll see me putting them in a lot easier than you will if you haven't tapped them. Notice I'm not tightening anything up. I don't want to pull any one corner down or anything. I'm just putting them all in a couple of turns just to make sure they all locate. And the last one of the 6. There we go. Right, so now we'll start from the middle. Again, make sure there's no tape trapped under there. Just pull those down. That one I didn't tap deep enough clearly because it feels quite hard. There we go. You see now here, I'm glad I did that black paint around the edge, because had I not, we'd see yellow paint there. So worth doing. Very worth doing, guys. Okay, so that's all fitted in beautifully. Got no tape trapped under it anywhere. And you can see now why we've got that reflective panel in there for the interior light here. Okay. Alright, so that's that in. We've done the rear window. Now it's this rear panel. As I say in the instructions, they're telling you to just put it on like that, but it actually goes in from behind. Sorry, this has to go in behind as well. And then you've got 2 little tabs here. So you can see how that's gone in. We've got 2 little tabs here, and then we've got the lugs up here, which I've previously tapped. And we're going to put those in with 2 screw B's. So we'll grab a couple of these screws, easier said than done. And that one can go in there. There we are. I am beginning to get my mojo back, guys, so you will see some scale modelling on here again soon, I can assure you. But I can tell you, if ever your mojo has been shattered like mine has, these Partworks die-cast screw-together kits, you know, this is not a Partwork by any means, but these screw-together kits are great for getting your mojo back, because they are just, you know, it's not all about cutting tiny little bits off of sprues. There's lots of spraying and lots of masking and stuff, yeah, but you don't necessarily have to do that if you don't want to. But yeah, I would say this is a fantastic mojo builder, this model. Absolutely awesome. So if if you're one of these, if you've got a few quid in the bank and your mojo's been hit, then I would seriously recommend one of these Pocher kits, because it's just great for I mean, thank you so much to Hornby for sending me this, because you know, I probably wouldn't have gone and bought one. I wouldn't have even thought of doing this as a mojo breaker, but it really is fantastic compared to, you know, detailing a cockpit or something like that. This is or, you know, doing all that photo etching, the A20 wheelbase and stuff. This is just, you don't have to concentrate so much, basically. So yeah. Anyway, that's that step complete. So we've got that bulkhead in, and we've got the firewall, and we've got that all in. We don't have to worry about this yellow paint because we're going to be covering that up. When we go over the page, we're on to this part here now, when we're going to be assembling this. So that's what we're going to look at next. I've also got the pedals off and started to paint those. And we've also got this forward bulkhead, and we're going to have to fill these two slots, because if it's left-hand drive, you use those two slots. If it's right-hand drive, you use those two slots. So you're going to end up with holes in your floor. So you could make some mats to cover that. I know there's mats to go in there, but they're not going to cover that one there. I think the mat might cover, no, it might not actually. No, it won't, because it will be mats. The mats will be made to be universal between left and right-hand drive. So basically that hole is going to be left exposed, so we're going to fill those in. I'll show you how we do that. But we've got to do this step here next, so I'll see you back for that. Okay, so we've got this bulkhead here. I'm allowing the paint to dry on these. These are the sides for the interior. They're all painted in LP-5 semi-gloss black, so we'll let those dry. I've done the same with the rear panel. So this is our forward bulkhead, and I'm going to repaint this as well because this is too shiny. I don't like it. But aside from that, I'm going to fill in these holes because my car's left-hand drive. So if you're doing yours right-hand drive, you're going to end up with two holes in your floor here. So if you don't want those, this is how I'm filling them in. So I've got a piece of 1mm plastic card, and you can see I've cut an angle on there. And the reason I've done it is because these holes have an angle on the top. So you can see that's going to go in there like that. And it's going to fill in that angle. So what we can do, in fact, what I'm going to do is, I don't know if this is powder coating or what. I'm going to remove it because the glue may not penetrate it. So we'll remove that to give the glue something to work with. Right, so we're going to stick that in there like that. And then just apply plenty of super glue and let it capillary in. Don't worry about what sort of mesh you make because it's all going to have to be sanded back anyway. And we'll use the super glue as a filler, so we'll probably be putting even more on when it dries. Okay, so that go in there. Just like so. There we go, so that's got in there like that. And we'll do the same on the other one. I've cut an angle on that one as well because it's the same. So we can just go around here. And then put some glue into there. There we go, we'll do the same on the other side, let it dry, and then I'll come back and show you how we trim it all down. Okay, so that glue's all dry now, so what we can do now is come along with our snips and just literally cut this plastic card away, flush with the surface. Okay, cut the back out as well if you want to, just to make it look a bit tidier. Alright, so we'll get in there and cut some more of that. There we go, that's better. And then same on here, we're coming from this side. See if I can get into that angle. Looks like I can just get in. And obviously we're going to have to come in and do some sanding. And as I say, I'm going to paint this whole panel anyway because compared to the rest of my interior, it's got quite a sheen to it. So there we go. So those bits of plastic go in the bin, and then with a modelling knife or a round knife, we can come along here and we can just shave shave down to remove some of that off the surface. This one's going to be very difficult because all the angles are a bit funny. And the knife's going to dig in if we're not careful, so we need to be a little bit more careful with that one and just gently trim it. And then it's just a case of sanding it. And then we should be able to see if we get any shiny spots around the plastic, like we're going to get here. You can see here there's clearly an undercut there, so that's going to have to be filled. Depends how fussy you want to be, really. And then on the back here we can also do some shaving. Be careful with these blades when you're cutting heavy because they will just snap. So it's always a good idea when you're doing things like this to get some eye protection, because I wear glasses anyway, so that's good enough for this sort of thing. But yeah, these blades, they can go off in any direction. They have no inertia because they have no weight, but I wouldn't like to get one directly into my eye. Okay, I don't think that glue's fully hard yet either. The VMS super glues do take a long time to dry compared to others. So you can see we've got an undercut there, we've got an undercut there where the glue has shrunk back. So I should be able to get some from here. Now it's a very warm day today, so it's all dried off. So I'm just going to put some more glue around there, and then I'm just going to sand it flush. I've painted all these pedals and everything, and as you can see, this is the footrest. And this part in the middle here is rubber, so I painted them black first. They're molded in silver and then sprayed silver in the kit. So I'm going to see if I can get this masking fluid off of here without causing any damage. Looks like it might be quite difficult. There we go, it's coming. There we are. There we are, so there's our black rubber pad on that pedal, or that footrest should I say, and then this one here, take it off of the stand. This is the micro scale liquid mask, the blue stuff. It's quite difficult to get off, but I find it dries very fast. Some of the other stuff, like the Mr. Hobby ones, they take quite a while to dry. So we'll just rub around the edge. I think what I'm going to have to do is go around with a brush anyway, so I could have just painted them, the whole thing silver, and then painted them black. Or even left them silver and just painted those pads black. But then I wanted the actual arm of the brake pedals black, so I wanted that black. So we've got that at least. So there we are. So there's our pedal ready to go in. And when we're ready, that's just going to sit in there like that. And that footrest is going to sit over here. And then this piece here, which supports the gas pedal, that's going to sit in there. And then the gas pedal is going to sit in there. So there we are. So there's our pedal work. So everything can be improved with just a bit of paint. I'd say if you had some silver and black paint for this model, you could make some vast improvements to it. Really, it really is worth doing, I think. You know, just imagine if you took those off a sprue, left them silver, and then just painted those bits in black. It just makes everything look a lot better, doesn't it? Paint that bit there black because that's moulded in silver and it should be black. This pedal here should have rubber ridges on it, but it doesn't. So I'm going to just leave it like it is. I suppose I could put some lines on if I wanted to. We'll see. But there we go. So I'm going to touch those in black and then and get this all sanded out and we're good to go. Okay, there we go. Next day now, and as you can see, holes all filled, primed, sanded back, and the whole panel is painted in LP-3 flat black. So there we go. It's a lot better than the sheen that was on the stock part, as far as I'm concerned anyway, in my opinion. So that's all good to go. Right, let's get back to our instructions. So we've got to fit these seat belts and we've got to fit this to that rear panel. Now they're not telling us to glue anything, so I'm assuming it all just clips together. So we have our side panels here all painted in LP-5 semi-gloss black. There we go. And we've got our seat belts here, which they're in a bag in the box. marked SB for seat belts, and I've got the buckles cut off of the PE fret and all cleaned up, ready to go. So as you can see, I've tied a knot in one end of the seat belt. So that is basically going to thread through there, like that, and then the buckle, how will the buckle go? Will it be that way? Yes, it will. So that's going to go on there like that, and then that's going to go through there. I'm going to pull that up. I'm going to put that buckle up there. Okay, now as I say, in the instructions they're showing it as being all slack, but in reality it would be an inertia real seat belt and it would be fairly taut, I would have thought. I'm not a poet. So what we can do here is grab a clothes peg on there, and then I'm going to grab some of the, this is the thin super glue, just get that glued into position, just like so. There we go, that buckle's going to have to stay up there somehow, I don't know how. We shall see. So that's that one done. And we can do the same on this one, pass it through. Easier said than done. I'll tell you what, I'm going to do this off camera, because you've seen me do it once, you don't need to see me do it again, do you? I'll back in a sec. There we go, all done. Side panels in, rear panel all connected up. So that is step 4 completed. So we can grab our good old pencil. There we are. Right, let's have a look at this forward bulkhead now. So we've got all our bits and pieces here. We've got our brake pedal, we've got our footrest, our throttle pedal, and the support for the throttle pedal. So basically this throttle pedal is going to sit in that hole there. That is a very tight fit, but it will go. Here we are. So that's going to sit back like that. So what we'll do here, we'll get a drop. What I've done, I've mixed the black thin with the clear thin, and what you get then is a flexible, quick setting black glue. So put that in there, put that back there. There we go. Right, so that's gone in there, and now that is going to go into that slot. There, come on, you know you want to. Okay, that's quite a snug fit as well, so that's good. And then what we can do is come in from behind and glue it in from behind. That way we know we're not making any mess on the front. That will capillary in. So that's that one done. Now the brake pedal is a nice snug fit, that fits into that hole there. I'll just put my finger on that and then put my finger over there, which is pretty clever. So that is a very, very snug fit into there. I'll just put some glue on the back of there and let that capillary in. Hold it in place, put some more on there because I put my finger on it. like a clown. So that's that, and then finally here we have the footrest. We can glue that in from behind as well. There we are. So simple as that. That's our forward firewall done, our forward bulkhead. Okay, oops. I think maybe I do need to put some glue on here. There we are, that's our forward firewall complete. Okay, so that's step 5 complete, is it? Yes, it is. So step 5 is complete. All those parts fitted. Okay then guys, so we finally reached the point where we can get all of this together and build up the interior, end up with a centre monocoque for our car. So here you can see we have screws. We're going to screw stuff in. There's no gluing involved, so we can put all our super glue and everything to one side, but we wanted to get our screws out of the box. Now it's critical to look at this. This is something I talked about when I first talked about this kit. If you print off these instructions, you can see this in the magazine, in the book. In the actual book, I don't think this is like, I don't think it opens out like this. I think it's on 2 pages. I don't have the book right next to me, so I can't really check. But basically, step 6 goes over 2 pages, and as you can see, you have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, when I learnt from when Moss did it, he did 1, 2. Put the bulkhead in and then tried to fit the floor, and it was a nightmare. So here I see that what we should do is let me get the other magazine a minute, hang on, I'm calling it a magazine, it's not a magazine, it's a manual. This is where they've gone wrong. On this page here you have 1, 2 and 4, and then over here is 3. So what Moss missed out was the fact that that goes in before this, but when you look at this drawing you can see it showing that this firewall is already fitted, this bulkhead is already fitted. Whereas in the older manual, you can see it's not. They're telling you to put it in. So that was where he went wrong. So we're going to make sure we do it to the correct order. So I'm going to put the screws over here. It's going to be nice to have some room because all of these sub-assemblies are taking up so much room. So, first things first, we're going to get that manual. Stop calling it a magazine, you idiot. Right, so we're going to get our towel on the bench, get our main body over here, and we'll put that down like so. Right, get that tape off of there. We don't want masking tape marks on our flat paintwork. So the first thing to do is put the instrument panel in. So the instrument panel is going to go in somehow and slide in, is it? Quite sure how this is supposed to go in here. It doesn't seem to want to go in. Okay. It's very, very fiddly. There we go. I don't know what clicked then, but something clicked into place. So as you can see now, there it's in place. Right, so it's telling us to fit that with 2 K screws. So these are our famous plastic screws, or famous screws for plastic, should I say. So we get 2 of these. It's nice doing this when it all comes together because it's been so much work masking and painting and masking and painting. which of course you don't need to do. I chose to do. Okay, so that's your instrument panel fitted, and you can see how it blends into all this trim here on the sides. Very, very nice indeed. Does go together very well, this model. And then the second thing to do is fit this, which is not glued together, so I'm guessing it's all going to fall apart. Yes, there you go. I guessed right. I'm guessing they tell you not to glue it together because it's to adjust itself once it's fitted, I'm guessing. Okay, so that's going to clip down in there like that. Okay, we've got tabs on the top of that bulkhead that go into slots in the roof lining. You can see there's tabs. There we go, you can hear them clipping in. And then that should all line up then with the door apertures and the screw holes and everything. So we're using 2 E screws. Maybe these are long. Just going to nip these up and then check the alignment on the door apertures because I'm not 100% sure that they're in the correct position. Yeah, they are. They're perfect. Blimey, this goes together really well, guys. Okay, so we can just nip those screws down. These bloody seatbelt buckles, I've glued them up and they won't stay up. There we go. Look at that, it's just fallen straight back down again. Right, so that's that done. That's all good. Okay, so the next part now is 3, which is the main floor. So all of that's gone together okay. So this is going to just drop in. I've got tabs on the sides that are going into these slots. They're quite a snug fit. There we go. So that's going in there, and then that's got 2 B screws which are going to go into here. So we're going to fit this bulkhead first. So that's going to go over that steering column. Okay, this is going to be awkward. Okay, I've just had an idea. I think what we're going to do, come on, come off. Right, we're going to lift the front of this floor up and engage it with that bulkhead. Get it over that steering column first, and then drop it all in together. I think that's the way to go. Yes, it is. So now we can put that into there. That one can go into there. That one's going in there, that one's going in there. There we go. That's all good. There we are, that's all in. Right, so it's telling us now to use 2 E screws on the outside here. One E screw in the front here. Pull that down. Pull that down and pull that down. So that's the bulkhead fitted, and then we've got one E screw here. And then we have 2 B screws on the outside. One and 2. And that is our interior all put together. And as you can see, when we look inside there, we now have a complete interior. We've got our pedals and everything all in there. We've got our seats sliding about. There we go. We've got a steering wheel. So it's all looking very, very nice indeed, and worth all the effort. So there we go, we finally have our complete monocoque. So the next thing's going to be looking at getting the actual front and back end fitted. You can see how big this thing's going to be, but I think before we do that we might look at painting the brakes. Thank you for watching. That'll be it for part 9, and I will see you back next week for part 10. As I say, I'm not sure what we're going to do yet. We're going to do the brakes, or we're going to look at getting the subframes fitted. We shall see. Bye for now. Thank you for watching. Oh, if you haven't already, if you hit that subscribe down there, you can subscribe to the channel, hit the notifications bell. You will see when my next videos are coming out, and go from there. So thank you very much for watching. By the way, that has pulled that together. Look, where I had that angular problem, it's pulled it together, so no worry about that. There we are. I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.